Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I know I'm sort of going to get straight to the point about this because let me tell you something, because I know fine well Uncle Gums is apparently watching this. I don't think Uncle Gums fully caught on to the idea that I'm not particularly impressed by what I've heard about Uncle Gums, but let's assume for one moment that I am going into this not knowing anything about Uncle Gums. Let's pretend as though I do not know who this man really is. Instead, I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, and I want to hear Uncle Gums say it. So apparently, there's three parts to this, and apparently this is just going to be from his perspective, by the way. So this is going to be 100% completely biased on the point of view of Uncle Gums because, well, without anyone else to attest or give evidence to the things he's done or the reasons why well, there's a lot to cover here, so I think we better just hear it from the horse's mouth and just get started, shall we?
This is your Uncle Gums, and this is what I look like. Hello world, hello YouTube, hello TikTok. Well, let's get started. Why is your Uncle Gums on TikTok doing what he's doing? Well, because I can.
That's already a very distressing sign, ladies and gentlemen, just because he can. The sort of people who say stuff like that are undeniably arrogant, ladies and gentlemen, because they think, well, think about it like this. I bullied somebody at school just because I can. You know what? I sabotaged somebody's homework at school and they got into a lot of trouble just because I can. I crashed into somebody's car whilst I was drunk just because I could. You know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? It's beyond. It is one of the most arrogant things you could possibly do is say because I can.
Why did your Uncle Gums get started on TikTok? Here's how it went. I went on there, I saw how things were, and I thought I'd give it a try.
That's it.
People saw my name, thought I was just a kid, so they blocked me.
I dispute that. And yeah, he immediately says they blocked him. So you're telling me people blocked you because people thought you were a kid? No, bollocks to that. I don't buy that for 1 second.
Once they found out I was an adult, they immediately assumed I was a predator. Just because of my name, Uncle Gums. You're a predator.
Are you sure?
So, after hearing that for about a week or two, being constantly kicked, being invited up to lives and kicked out of lives, just once they heard me talking, I got thinking, if I'm already going to be labeled a predator, I might as well start acting like one. But I'm going to do it. But I thought I'm going to do it in the most legal way possible that's not breaking any laws.
You know what I find really distressing, ladies and gentlemen, and you know this. I'm furious right now. I am absolutely And for some reason, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put it to you like this. For some reason, this guy is subscribed to me. I wish there was a way I could just I wish YouTube could come up with a system where you could specifically block people from subscribing to you, because I don't want to have anything to do with him on this. I don't want to have anything to do with this guy being subscribed to me, because I don't want to think for 1 second that whether this channel ever sees 10,000 subscribers or anything like that, I don't want it to be people like him contributing. This channel has no place for people like that. Absolutely no way. And at this point, based on just what he said, it does not matter, ladies and gentlemen, because that is as damning as evidence as it gets. Any court in the world, ladies and gentlemen, will be looking to that and will literally be asking him, well, what did you say that for then? And you're saying you got kicked out of lives because of things you said. Well, what did you say that got you kicked out, Uncle Gums? You said things, but you didn't say what you actually said. So, do you want to explain what language you used? Why you got kicked out of lives? I swear to God, I am... Get lost.
Just to be weirdly entertaining.
Weird, huh? It's not cool to be weird, Uncle Gums. Back it all, and yeah, getting rid of that as well. That's apparently where it started, huh?
I started by singing corny songs and corny happy birthdays to just whoever, to nobody really. And then some people saw my corny singing and thought, hey, this guy's pretty chill. He's not trying too hard to do anything. Let's see if he'll do a song about me. And I did. And it was catching on. And I was singing happy birthdays and happy graduations in a really corny way. And I thought it was pretty cool to get that kind of attention. It wasn't much, but it was something. And it kept me busy. Well, let's fast forward a little bit. People wanted me to just sing random songs about them, about what they post about and they're on their TikToks. And I thought that was neat. That went on for a while. And you gotta remember, most of my audience was teenagers, or what I thought was teenagers, which it didn't really matter to me, because people are people, right? I thought, whatever gets me the most attention works for me, you know?
Can I just ask a question? And I know this is going to seem like like why I'm asking this, but what evidence does Uncle Gums have that that his audience are teenagers? What is he going off to say stuff like that? Because guess what? Personally, I couldn't give a shit about how old my audience is. And guess what? I don't ask them, and I don't want to assume either. Honestly, that literally does not matter whatsoever. However, again, when he says stuff like that, plus accompanied with what he said before, it makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. And I don't really know what on earth... what is the point of this, by the way? What is he trying to prove?
And then I started hearing things after I got about 100 videos in, people started getting more noticed by different people, mostly adults, that don't have much else to do with their lives, it seems, but complain about an old man singing for teenagers. Some people just don't have no life, and they want to try to paint the picture of somebody doing something innocent for others. But no, it's definitely has to mean something else.
Well, again, you can't really fall back on that excuse because of what you said before, Uncle. It doesn't work like that. And nobody's going to be thinking you're innocent now after you said that. Did at any point he think about sometimes literally it's better just not to say anything because I don't get it.
It just always has to. Isn't that sad? My Discord friends, I do have friends, I did have friends, well, Discord friends, for about, people I had known for about 10 or 12 years. And I started doing this silly TikTok stuff. And with the climate of 2024 and all the perverts out there, that my buddy saw it and thought, oh no, he's gone the way of the Diddy. He must be stopped. And so they unfriended me. Boo-hoo. Maybe they weren't. In a lot of ways, they were the same as me in their humor. And we all kind of parted ways after a while. Because we all were going through our different stages in life growing up. And I must have just stayed the same. But it's neither here or there. And I'm not mad at any of them if they think I am. Because I'm pretty chill like that. So let's get to the point of why people are so upset with what I post. Well, after doing all those videos about people, their daily lives, and what they like to do for fun, and what they're all about, some of them wanted their parents to get involved. And I sang about them too, but nobody likes to notice that. They like to just focus on what they want to focus on, which is pretty sad if you think about it. And there wasn't too many, but it was pretty cool. The ones that did want to participate. I'm not judging the ones that didn't want to, because social media and you're going to be all over if I blew up and went viral. And you might not want to be
judging by possibly by the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, part of me feels like I wish Uncle Gums did go viral, and by that I mean Ebola.
Considered in my presence, my aura.
Your aura? What aura is that?
Because of the things that are now being said about me. Which sucks. But yeah, most people kept saying, well, if you roast adults, if you adopt adults, people won't have a problem.
Who said that?
And then I started roasting adults, and people could magically scroll down then and see that I had roasted kids before.
You roasted kids before. You don't seem not particularly that chill then if you just admitted that you're gonna start acting like a pred and that you started roasting kids. You're not a chill dude, Uncle Gums. You're an old pervert who thinks that you could just get away with it in the legalist way possible. Gums, I don't buy that. This is what, again, pretending that I don't already know what this man is and the things that he has done. Let's just pretend I don't. I know fine well, I know already, but I just want to hear it from the horse's mouth, because the one thing that I know fine well this guy has certainly not done is that he absolutely believes he is 100% the victim in all of this. You want to know why I know this? At no point has he ever said that he was sorry for anything he's done. At no point has he ever said that he was in the wrong for anything he did. At no point has Uncle Gums even admitted a shred of guilt for anything or anyone except himself. I know fine well that Uncle Gums likes to target minorities, ladies and gentlemen, specifically minors. Well, let me tell you something right now, Uncle Gums. Just based on this, you, sir, are what they call a psychopath, and they're a minority too.
But whenever I had mentioned before that they say, "Oh, you're hiding your face. You never show your face. You must be scared." They could never scroll down that to see my face. They're just too lazy. But they could scroll down and see the videos where I had made about kids being adopted. And it's pretty strange, isn't it? But that's how TikTok is. People got one-track minds.
That's not true either.
With the allegations that I targeted the town of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, the high school, or the kids in the high school, that was never my intention. It just kind of took off. I was singing, like I said, I was singing corny videos, corny songs.
So what was your...
Which that account has now been bananered, but I still saved all the videos. And maybe someday I'll post them all again, whether you like it or not. Because you see, folks, some people have threatened harm on my life because of my posts.
Well, because they don't like perverts.
Some people in the town will always want to think of me as a predator, because they got no other way of thinking, because they think that's what all old people on social media are all about.
Apart from the ones like you, Uncle Gums, who just admitted that you were going to start acting like one. What am I supposed to think about that, Uncle? Come on, No, sorry, Gums, I refuse to call him Uncle. I'm not even entertaining that for 1 second. But like I said, what do you expect people are going to think when you say stuff like that?
Most of them are, if you think about it.
Oh, I see.
But
it's everyone else's to blame, not me.
come along.
That's what he's doing.
I don't look the proper way, because I don't have everything going for me in my life. So.
Well, I will say, like I said, again, the people thought you were a teenager. I dispute that, Gums, because you look like you haven't had a good night's sleep in 35 years. I don't know. I was a teenager once as well, and I don't ever remember my cheeks being as sunken as his at 17.
So, we must paint him as a predator, because he looks like it. So, therefore he is.
Again, that's not true. They only say that because of the way you behave and act, Gums. That's... Guess what? You know what? I've got plenty of friends who are elderly as well, and guess what? They don't want to go after kids. So, what do you say about that, Gums? And many of them use social media as well, so you've got you can't... It's just, this is where the excuses start, and I can tell you, like I said, I will stand by my comment of calling him a psychopath, because he's trying to adopt logic that doesn't make sense.
So, even if you are a stand-up person and you have everything going for you in your life and you post an innocent video on TikTok, just know that you too could be labeled. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to your relatives and your loved ones. No matter how innocent it is. And that's just how it goes. Another thing about TikTok is when you get into a live and kids do come up into your lives, and if you start talking to them and another group of young people join and they have a difference of opinion, uh-oh, you must be a predator.
Again, I have to ask the question, first of all, Gums, what evidence do you have that you're interacting with children in the first place? Second of all, why don't you just why don't you just, don't interact with the audience at all? Or, there's got to be features on TikTok, which means that only people of a certain age can actually join your live streams. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but I'm pretty sure that's got to be a thing, because I think legally they've got to enforce that sort of thing, because goodness though, I would not use a site like TikTok to go live knowing that sort of feature did not exist, because you don't do that. And by the way, why would you want to interact with kids on TikTok anyway? What does Gums have in common with kids on TikTok? But what does Gums have?
I mean, I know I'm talking about that a lot, so that must mean I'm defending it, right? I mean, that's what a lot of people seem to focus on. The other reason why I was doing this was because I was watching a lot of those Chris Hansen type videos and the predator hunters on YouTube and TikTok. I thought it was pretty entertaining. But and the ways they do things now, which isn't totally legal, and they're always screwing up some case, or they're just randomly assaulting people. And it's even evolved now to where they're hiring people that they know to act like predators for content and views. Now that's pretty messed up. Someone would want to volunteer to look like a predator across all social media just so their friends can get some views and make a little bit of money.
Why does he keep saying to look like a pred? Why does he keep using the phrase look like a pred? Why is looks such a fascination with Gums when it comes to this subject? That's for someone who claims to be a pretty chill guy. He seems to be fascinated on quite a lot of shallow aspects about people's personalities, because it's all face value. But based on what I'm hearing so far, it's a lot more than what's face value, Gums. You said it yourself.
And you don't see videos about them because everybody knows it's fake. But when your Uncle Gums comes along and starts roasting your kids because they choose to be roasted, a lot of them, and let me go back.
Show me Gums, show me an example of kids specifically stating to be roasted. Is that true, Gums? Because that's not true. That's not true at all, is it?
TikTok has a problem with lots of things, and I think we all know this. Certain things you can and cannot say, and you won't find out until it's too late.
Well, one, you can. It's called reading their terms and conditions. Also, if you claim there's so many problems, why did you use it in the first place then? Oh, wait, I forgot. It's because he said, because I can. I see. Oh, God, this is starting to piss me off now. This is getting out of hand. And there's still two parts to go.
You can't have a debate in the comments with what you want to say. Because I said something along the lines of being raped by a bear. And someone in the comments didn't like that, and I got a violation. And I kept, and every couple of months, I
Well,
kept getting the.
well, were they right or wrong? Because that is a violation. Because one, is it even true? Second, that's quite explicit. And if it's not true, first of all, if it's not true, then why did you say it? And if it was true, why are you saying that in the comments section for anybody to see? Why would you say something that personal? Again, like I said, if it's even true.
Violation for that same comment. Even though I didn't know you could get a violation for the same comment over and over and over again.
Right. Okay. So
that sucks. Despite the worst things that were being said up in the live, that's crazy. So with my ability to message people anymore on TikTok itself, I had to get my followers, if they wanted, to send me a snap about what they wanted to be posted. This only seems right? I mean, if you can't communicate, how are you supposed to interact with your followers about what they want? And if they wanted to send a picture of what they wanted it to look like to be adopted with a little message like others have done before, then that's what they do. And if you didn't want to be adopted, you wouldn't be adopted. You wouldn't be roasted. So we can cut that all to the.
Can I just stay for the record right now, Gums, is that I've had quite a number of friends over the years who've been adopted, Gums, and they got bullied horrendously because of who they were, adopted and otherwise. And guess what? They didn't ask for that either. They didn't they didn't ask to be bullied because they were adopted. So you can cut that bullshit out like right now. I am so sick of hearing this guy going on about, saying it's okay to roast just people because of this. I'm actually, this is just kind of sick. I just
the point right now and cut that clear. And some people are saying on Facebook that I'm demanding pictures from people and I'm talking inappropriate to them. You can go through all those comments, those TikToks. Well, you can't now because most of those kids deleted all those comments, all those messages. So there's no way to prove that.
He almost sounded smug when that happened because he thinks that's the evidence gone.
Some of the parents removed them from TikTok and Snap altogether.
Oh, it's so fair. Snapchat as well.
You don't want your kids on TikTok, social media. That's your prerogative.
To keep them away from people like you, that's why. And by the way, there is a part 2 to all this, and thankfully it's shorter, and, well, let's just...
Because if those people can do that to me, they're going to do it to you and others. And from the post...
Just because... Gums, are you at all familiar with the expression, just because you can does not mean you should? I don't think this is not an old turn of phrase, by the way. This is something that, honestly, I want to see bring back. I swear to God, no sooner did I start using that phrase, I literally have never heard anybody else use it, because I think it's a great one, and something that I think people kind of need to remember sometimes is that it's so you don't end up with cases like this.
I've seen on their TikToks, they do this stuff to others without all the facts. One guy has been editing and posting snaps I've made to people that's making me look like the bad guy. Now, I have not blocked any of his accounts, But he keeps blocking mine that I have to create to see what he's been saying next about me. It's how are you going to make a post about somebody, directing it to them, and they're blocking them from even seeing it. So when people are in his comments, and the public that are reading from his FY4U page, that come across it, it's like, oh, this Uncle Gums guy is a really sick bastard. He's not saying anything to even defend himself. Well, I can't, because the videos that they've made and the posts they've made, they blocked me from them, from even responding. And some of these people have posted where I used to live on social media, and they keep claiming they're going to find me in person and talk to me legally. That's what they say, but you never know what their true intentions are until it happens, which I'm not afraid of. They think I'm afraid and hiding and scared, and I'm not. There's just no point in hiding from people like that. They're mostly just a bunch of keyboard warriors. They like to hype each other up because they got nothing else going on for their lives.
That's a little ironic coming from Gums, because every video I've been putting out for the last 2 days now, he always makes it a point of contention to say, I'm the first here to comment, by the way. So what am I supposed to think about that?
And when I do wear my beanie over my face, it's not to hide my identity.
So why wear it then?
It's part of my character I created, called Uncle Gums, because I don't have any teeth, see? Got gums. I have dentures, but I don't like wearing them. I've become pretty efficient at talking, so people can understand me. Instead of having the dentures in, and then talking, and then one day, when you might not have them in, you might not be able to talk right, because you never got used to talking with your gums. So that's why I call myself Uncle Gums. And to be fair, I didn't come up with the name Uncle Gums. I used to be on Omegle, and one of the people that used to follow me, another teenager, said, I got thinking, I was asking people, what nickname could I come up with to get me, to make me be me, with my character. And the consensus was I should call myself Uncle Gums. So it stuck. I did create a second character called Uncle Bunny, Uncle _BUNNA.
Okay.
She has a light blue beanie and a cheap bunny mask that you can get at any dollar store probably. And I just cut the holes in the top of the beanie, shoved the ears through the top, and then pulled it up over the mask and cut the eye holes out. It looks really strange and creepy, and that's what I was going for.
To be strange and creepy, right, okay.
I wasn't going for perfect, because anybody can do it if they want to. It's not anything specifically hard, and it's cheap and easy and affordable. Some of the people that snap to me to give me suggestions to roast them or to adopt them were not actually them.
Why does he keep saying adopt?
I should have took precautionary measures to make sure those people were those people they claimed to be, and that did not happen. So what I will do in the future I will still have these snap conversations because what I'm doing is not illegal. It's technically not illegal.
He changed his opinion pretty quick, didn't he?
As long as you're not talking to people in a sexual nature, that cannot be considered a crime. I did a lot.
He thinks he's... Oh, I see now what he's trying to do. He's trying to be clever. We'll see how far that gets him, because it's... he knows... I know he probably thinks he's clever, but guess what? Here I am telling him that he's not.
I did a lot of research before all this social media stuff really blew up. So you can take that with any bit of salt that you want to, as you may.
Oh, well, thank you very much then, Gums. That's
just like a lawyer would look into what he's going to convey to the judge and the recipient to plead the case for his defendant. Wouldn't you want a lawyer to do that for you? Or would you want him to just go off on nothing from what most people say online? I am not a licensed attorney. I kind of just taught myself about certain things so I could keep myself out of trouble. And
what?
So yeah, that's why I did that. And if you're really so upset with me talking to your kids in the first place on Snap, what I was doing.
Why would you ever want to talk to kids in the first place, Gums? Again, what do you have in common with the kids? Nothing, Gums. You don't. Stop going on about this. This is...
Then maybe you should keep more attention on what your kids are doing, and I can help you with that.
Oh, here we go. It's parents' fault. Oh, right, he's going to give advice now, is he?
If you go on Snap on your kids' phones, I don't know what they have, Android or Apple, I don't care. I don't know. I don't think it's any different for TikTok. But go into what they've shared with each other. It'll be like a little circle with two arrows chasing each other. Or their save folder. It should be like a little ribbon. And whatever they have saved, go through those. If you find anything that is it seems really weird and out there, then that's where you could find it and delete it. You can also click on those people's creators' names and have them blocked.
Again, it's blaming everyone else. That's...
I'm sure that bit of information will seem relative for the moment, but then you'll all just forget it and not care about it anyway. That's how most parents are.
Just give me a few seconds, guys. I just have to do something. Let's see. So... Don't worry, Gums. I decided to do the right thing and literally posted what you just said. Good job, Gums. Because let's hear what I like to call the democratic response. Let's see what people have got to say about your opinions. Then let's do that, and let's see exactly what people think about what we're going to call your brand of logic. Let's see how well this goes, Gums, because I'm going to be completely honest with you and upfront. This is not going to end like the way you thought it would. I'd say this is going to be a disaster. I'd say you have put yourself right in it.
They're really protective and everything for the moment, and then after the fact, they just seem to forget it and don't care. I know that bit of information might upset my followers and my fans, but I'm not trying to intentionally get people to hate me even more than they already do.
You kind of did that to yourself, Gums.
It's just the way the world is.
No, it's not.
Today.
No, Gums, it isn't. You brought that upon yourself through what you've done. The reason why people hate you this much, Gums, is because of you, Gums. It's because of what you did. Not anyone else. It's because of what you did.
And it's sad. I never did once. There's a video I have where the parents seem to think that I was pleading to the kids that I was upset that their parents were having me blocked or having them block me from interacting with me. That is a misconception. That is a misconception. That is a false truth that they like to share amongst themselves. When I gladly accepted that those parents did that. And I still do. If your kids are featured in a video that I post about them and you don't like it, I have no problem with you having them remove me or block me or unfollow me. So, go chew on that apple.
Well, at least they can chew, Gums.
There are going to be adults that find my content hilarious.
Are you sure?
That doesn't mean that they are Predator supporters. They're just supporters like anybody else. Because that's the biggest defense. That's the lamest defense I've heard from people. I mean, you support this person, so you must be a sympathizer. Now, the biggest thing here's the funniest thing with even my teenage followers, and the ones that might be younger, because I'm not a magician or a genie, and I don't know everybody's ages that's on TikTok.
Yet you're still interacting with them, and you still think there are some teenage followers. Then,
if your kid is following me, I don't exactly know how old they are. I can't magically tell how old they are from their picture. There's all kinds of filters out there now that people use, and the AI is getting out of hand, so it's pretty darn hard to tell how old people really are.
I know I've said this before, well, there you are. Look at that. There's just a video right there. Uncle Gums, TikTok's creepy file uncle. posting children's kids. Yeah. Are you trying to tell me that there's... I'm gonna go... Listen, I'm gonna go watch some Lil Aggie after this, but I'm gonna just... Let's just put a bow on it and just end this.
Now I'd like to talk about my haters.
Oh, right.
And
Okay,
I
here we
love
go.
my haters.
No, you do
Because
not, Gums. That's a
if they're
lie.
following me,
Well, I'm not.
that's just increasing my attention that they got for me.
You know, Daniel Lawson probably had that sort of level of logic too, but guess what? Look at what that ended. And I know some people have commented saying that Gums looks like Daniel Lawson in 50 years' time, which isn't a fair comparison, because, like I said before, Daniel Lawson is not going to be around in 50 years. He's probably not even going to be around in the next 10 years. As for Gums, I'd give him 5 years at best.
For me. And I won't block anybody unless you're being aggressively annoying.
Aggressively annoying.
But some of these people on this since I've been posted on Facebook.
Now he's gone over to Facebook,
have contacted so-called predator hunters, and I think what they really are is amateur predator hunters that sit from their home and communicate with other people who got nothing better than their lives to do and think they're going to get famous like Chris Hansen. A lot of these people can't keep their facts straight. They love to do editing to make things look a certain way, but when they're presented to show the truth, they don't want to because they know they're...
You know, while he's saying this, we also need to point out that Gums said off his own back that he was going to start acting like a pred, and that, well, I certainly don't really use that much editing. The only editing I do is that I just put the video footage of what he's saying just on the timeline when I'm editing through Premiere Pro. So I don't really so that excuse doesn't really fall by because I'm only going off of what you're saying, Gums. And there's been think about that, Gums. Everything we've heard in this has come from your mouth.
They're going to screw themselves over if they do that. And they ask me constantly to remove my content that I made about them, and after even if I have, they cannot, and they haven't removed any of the content they made about me. That is incredibly false, and it's really hurting my character as a person.
One, if that's true, then why don't you request them to delete it? Second of all, I think the reason they do that is because, guess what? It's probably, collecting evidence. But again, what evidence do you have that this is actually true then, Gums? Think about it this way. What proof do you have? Because you haven't put up any proof. All we've heard about is just from your... Imagine this is your testimony, so what proof have you got? What have you got to suggest that, guess what, that people are trying to he's not even saying as though people are trying to intentionally set him up. They're talking about as though there's some grave injustice of the fact that Gums can't work out why people would have an issue if he's interacting with kids and teenagers and saying inappropriate
things. People
things.
know who they are. And there's the one young female. She's a young adult, but she keeps claiming that she's a teenager. And if she really is a teenager, she needs to make a video coming clean about that.
Oh, I see. It's down to her
because
to make demands.
Every
then.
time she contacts
Whoever
me on
this
Snap
is.
or TikTok, she keeps lying about her age, how old she is. I think her problem is she just wants a payday. She's just looking for a payday from anybody she can get it from. She's looking for someone older to expose themselves to her so that she can wait until she's of an adult age and then claim that that this person or that person did something to her that offended her when she probably really, when in all actuality, she probably enjoys it, but she can't admit it. And there's many people like that. But when these people are now grouped together in a common struggle to remove me from social media because of some false assumptions.
I'm guessing that, again, that this whole victimhood complex about because Gums here is under the impression that Blue Spike tried to intentionally set Gums up when, again, without any evidence to showcase if this actually happened, and no, Gums's testimony falls flat on the back of no evidence to try and clear his whatever reputation he's got left. Because I haven't bought a single word out of any of this, and the things that he has says have literally only caused my piss to boil. So, how do you expect me to believe that, Gums, after everything you've just said?
From my TikTok presence. And constantly making videos about me with these false assumptions. And my life has even been threatened a few times that if I didn't remove such content from my TikToks, that I would be assaulted. I've been asked to be what you call pull up to meet the people in person. Be like, why would I pull up to some?
Well, again, the question I have to follow is that, Gums, if this is true, then why didn't you go to the police then?
Someone who severely hates me, so that I could be jumped and dragged into their house and possibly be unalived. They didn't say that word for word, but if you read the YouTube video I had posted about that, it highly suggests that's what their intentions were. You see, when you post stuff on social media, no matter how good your intentions are, apparently, that we've learned, even if they're threatening in nature, you have to be careful how you say it. And this person obviously screwed up.
Irony.
And he is a young adult, young teenager, I think. But yet his parents asked me to remove the video in a very negative way, in which I didn't at first. And then that's when the threats started coming in.
Yeah, because...
So I thought, okay, I'll delete that video of their kid. And then it got to the point where the harassment videos started coming in. And after I had removed the video, several harassment videos started coming out. So what was the point of that? How are you gonna harass me after I removed your video?
Eventually, you didn't do it immediately, though, did you, Gums?
And then there was another point. A question got asked, answered. Another question got asked of me to remove all of the videos I ever made, or I would be assaulted someday. So my theory to that is, my answer, if I'm going to be assaulted someday anyway, randomly, I'm just going to put everything up anyway. Because, if you're already going to hurt me, what's the point of removing everything? I might as well just keep everything up.
Because they don't want their kids to be associated with
whether
someone like you,
anybody
Gums. That's why. It's very
asked me
simple.
nicely to take the videos down in the first place. I can't remember everybody's requests. And people will request things of me and then block me and delete me, so how am I supposed to go back and see who and yeah. It's just too complicated and overwhelming.
Explain then, Gums. Explain.
And there are going to be people that say, well, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. Well, shouldn't be doing it and doing it are two different things.
Oh, here we go. This guy's got an answer for everything now.
I guess how my mind works is if it's not illegal and it's not harming anyone physically.
Physically, really? Okay, physically, that's all.
What's the trouble?
What about mentally? Well, you know.
From this point forward.
Oh my god.
From this point forward, I will have people snap. Like I think I said before. I'll have them snap, and have them so I could see their face live in the
Right.
in the FaceTime.
Right. So you demand proof then.
Because that's not even illegal. As y'all seem to suspect that it is. Because if I can talk to your kids live on TikTok in person, it's no different than them snapping me if they have a request to be featured on TikTok or YouTube. And if you think that's a problem, there's a slew of other content creators on YouTube that post your children's presence without even asking for anyone's permission, not even the children themselves. So go bite on that apple as well.
So he takes no accountability
At
for
least I'm asking permission from these teenagers and adults. At least the ones that are nice to me. Because if you're not nice and you start just being outwardly rude.
Question. The people that are nice to you, you mean the people that agreed to it, Gums? And to the people, and you know what I'm trying to get across? Yeah, are those the ones that count as nice? Are the ones who actually go along with this? Because you haven't defined anybody who, like,
that usually means you're a bully. And as being bullied myself for most of my young life and adult life, from friends and family and relatives, I know I really do understand how bullying affects people. I'm totally against bullying.
and yet you still said that you're gonna be a pred anyway in the beginning. So no, I don't buy that whole charade about you disagreeing with bullying, Gums. And by the way, like I said, I've known plenty of people being bullied as well. And guess what? They did not end up like this.
Sometimes people will have me ask requests to roast a certain person, or they'll send a picture of their so-called friend. And I have done that before, and I felt bad about it later and removed the video. Another fun fact I'd like to mention is some of the people that originally really hated me in the process of all of this now seem to understand that what I'm doing has a point, and it's funny.
What is this? Is it though?
At least to them. So isn't that a twist? If you can have your haters hate on you relentlessly and then still follow and interact with you anyway, isn't that a win? Instead of, like last night with Drew Brendan Garrow. Me and him had a rocky start. I was in one of his lives, or he was in a live with someone who was slightly autistic, and I came in and heard him telling someone else down in the comments to leave this certain creator alone. And it was my own stupidity that got the best of me. And I reacted like some others have, and I overreacted, and I took that out on him in a series of videos, of roast videos that I made. And after learning the truth from his own followers, and that what I had done was a mistake, I removed those said videos. And there was a kind of, I thought there was a kind of truce. So I took down all those videos, and guess whose videos of me are still up? All the roasts that he roasted back at me.
Did you ask him for them to take them down?
Be ridiculed later.
But like I said, did you ask him to take them down?
I was in a live with him. I saw him live, and I thought I'd go in and just say hi and see how he's doing as a person, not as a troll. And I got railed into with him. He just went off. To some people, no matter how weird things may seem, just can't let go. And I think he could be around 17 or 18.
Alright, so it's another teenager
young
then.
Adult. And the two girls up in his box started getting very belligerent with me, saying, why do you come into the live with teenagers? You're an old man, you're a perv, you should go away. It's like, that's a crime now, apparently.
Well, they know who you are, Gums.
To randomly go into someone's live and be invited into the box. But it's okay for them to randomly go into an adult's live and have a conversation.
Well, by this point, they already know what you...
It always seems to be the negative when the adult goes into the younger person's life. So, this is your Uncle Gums, and that is my story. If you'd like to know more, leave a comment below, hit like, follow, and subscribe. And thank you for listening to my story.
Right, so Gums' entire story, insofar as I can work out, literally revolves around the idea of it's always somebody else's fault, oh, woe is me, and why on earth, like... Oh, dear. I'm trying to... Because I know fine well, like... I honestly, I'm actually kind of like a little bit stunned because I don't really know what else I'm meant to say about this. Because of everything we know, at least from, again, Gums' own admission, I also want to know just off what exactly who on earth is going to, like, what about, and guess what, guys, as I mentioned before, I already know about this guy with a lot of evidence. People have come together about the things that Gums has done. One of these days, I'm going to be able to put a video about that as well, because I know Gums well, for some reason he really seeks attention for commenting on my videos and trying to announce that he's there for some reason. I don't really know why he would do that, but I reckon by the time this goes out, he might want to reconsider his approach. Gums, at this point, I'm gonna give Gums the best piece of advice in his life, in his twilight years. I'm going to give you legitimately the absolute best possible advice for you, Gums. So I hope you're listening. Shut the shop and don't go back on the internet. That's the best thing you can do. Don't come back. You're going to save yourself a lot of trouble, and based on what you've done already and based on the things I've heard from you as well, I think the best thing you could do is to leave and take off. And don't comment on my videos again either. I'm going to make a suggestion about that because I know fine well, Gums, you will, but I also know fine well that people on here do not like the things that you do either. So I'm putting out there for just to give you a bit of peace of mind, and the thing that could save you a lot of trouble, because I am not going to put up with this for any longer. So good luck with that. As to the rest of you guys, well, you heard his story, I suppose, but I don't think, I reckon give it about a few days and I think he'll want to reconsider this approach. So thank you very much, and I'll see all of you guys again next time. Take care, and bye-bye for now.